In Millville, for the second race in a row, minor mistakes from Jett Lawrence led to first lap falls. And for the second race in a row, it didn't matter. Just more Jett doing still more Jett things. One week after 18th to 1st, nearly an equal ride, but merely 15th to 2nd. The only obstacle, Big Brother. Jett moved into second place, 10 seconds behind Hunter, just under 18 minutes to go. But this time, it was finally Big Brother's turn in the big class. Behind, for a time, the battle between Tomac and Sexton was epic, as it was in 2022. But far beyond and in front of that pace were the Lawrence brothers. So Hunter finally gets his, but every Hunter win in the 450 class has come in the first Moto. And so it remains, and still Jett reigns. It was just one Moto, and pesky little brother is still a perfect 7 for 7 overall. By the time the checkers flew on Moto 2, Hunter had 35 seconds on Chase, but that little shit Jett had 5 seconds on him. Now 22 for 23 in 450 outdoor motocross wins. There is a segment of the fan base that finds it monotonous. But greatness simply isn't. Greatness simply is. Nestled in amongst a forest of fir trees, Washougal Motocross Park rests just south of the National Forest and north of the scenic Columbia River, which acts as a boundary line for much of Washington and Oregon. Some say it is one of the most beautiful motocross parks in the world, and many a bike brochure and advertisement have been photographed on the most scenic stop on the circuit. Washougal is known for its hills, in particular the famous Horsepower Hill, the ever-present Deep Whoop section leading to the finish line, and most important, deceptively slick dirt and infamous late-day shadows cast by the massive fir trees that surround the track. The piece of land, a logged field, was spotted by Dave Demio and Glenn Gordon when they were flying overhead in an airplane while traveling east of Vancouver. The two approached Bob Leach, whose family today owns the Albany Motocross Park in Albany, Oregon, to design and build a motocross track. Glenn and Dave opened the track to racing in 1971. In 1976, the park featured the Northwest Challenge, a big regional race, which ultimately led to its first national. In 1979, Ed Youngblood, then the head of the AMA, visited the property after track promoter Bob Osborne asked if Washougal could host a national. The promoter's efforts succeeded when, on July 6, 1980, Washougal held its first outdoor national motocross race. Local boy Chuck Sun from Sherwood, Oregon, won the 500 class on a Honda, and Mark Barnett took the 125 class on a Suzuki. That same year, Ralph Huffman entered the picture. The eventual owner began his involvement by offering some fencing material to the track. Ralph had never raced motorcycles, but as the longtime co-owner of a logging company, he was plenty familiar with operating large machinery. Huffman would eventually take over the operation in 1987 by leasing the property, then purchasing the 180-acre grounds outright in 1995. Washougal has hosted a round of the National Motocross Championships, dating back to that first race, making it the premier and longest-running motorsports event in the Pacific Northwest. With the 250 class running on the same day as the 125 and 500s, still on a Yamaha, Ricky Johnson won the race in 1983, and again in 1984 on his way to a first national championship.
You had to go all the way back to 1984 to find a Yamaha that was still yellow. Johnson locked in a battle with Lachine for most of the first moto. Lachine kept the pressure on, but it wasn't enough. He had to pass Rick Johnson and Mark Barnett. His mechanic Chris Hayne puts on probably the biggest pit board in the history of the sport. Must get Barnett. Lachine kept the hammer down, chasing Barnett in later stages of the moto under pressure from Bob Hanna. Lose the front end in one of the thick powder berms here in the back section, going down, effectively handing the title over to Rick Johnson. So for Johnson, went on to win many titles, becoming one of the sport's legends. Won his first title in 1984 right here in Washougal.
For the latter half of the 80s and first half of the 90s, the AMA ran a split schedule, with 125 class racing taking place throughout the season, but with generally 6 to 8 250 races, followed by 4 to 6 Big Bore 500 Nationals as the premier class, until the dissolution of the 500cc National Division following the 1994 season. In 1991, Yamaha's Damon Bradshaw campaigned a barely updated version of the venerable air-cooled YZ490, dubbed the WR500, with a wider ratio transmission and an oversized enduro tank. A formidable task against Works, Honda, and Kawasaki 500s. But with the kind of grit and determination that made one wonder how the South could have lost the Civil War, Bradshaw came to do battle on the severely outdated machine, only to be simply outgunned by Team Honda and the defending Big Bore champion, Kawasaki's Jeff Ward.
Welcome back to National Championship Motocross. I'm Larry Myers. Coming up, motocross action in the 125 and 500 class. We'll have that for you very shortly. But first, let's go to the legendary great Bob Hurricane Hanna. He's standing by in the pits.
Thank you, Larry. We're here in Washougal, Washington, after about a 3-day downpour. It's seen its way to clear up today, and take it from me, we've got a great racetrack. I've ridden here about 10 years and I've never seen it better. Beside me, we've got a guy, Damon Bradshaw, who's won a few motos here, but never won an overall, and he's looking for that one today. Damon, how you doing?
I feel really good here today. The track looks like it's going to be nice.
You've ridden here a few times before. It's been a little dusty, been a little muddy, and on a track like this, I think all of us would like to ride.
Yeah, I think so. I've been here in the dust, the mud, and, you know, the bad conditions. I think we got pretty lucky today with the rain. I think the guys worked really hard and got the track prepped, so it's going to be due for some good racing.
Welcome back to National Championship Motocross. I'm Larry Myers. We're in Washougal, Washington for the second round of the 500cc National Championship Series. The opening moto of the day in that class, the 500 class, is on the line, and we're just about set to go. There goes the gate, and 40 of the fastest 500cc riders in the country are underway. Jeff Ward, the rider that Bob Hanna was talking to just a short while ago before we took a commercial break, takes the whole shot and comes out in corner number one, but no, look at that Damon Bradshaw. Ward had the lead going into that corner, but Bradshaw snuck by on the inside, just like Ward is doing right now to Bradshaw. And Bradshaw momentarily took the number one position. But Ward is back out front, Bradshaw running second. Jeff Stanton, I believe, is in the number 3 position. Looked like Jean-micheal Vale in fourth. Through this humongous set of whoop-de-doos comes Jeff Ward, just skimming over the top. The Kawasaki handling beautifully in the early going of Moto number 1. It's in the number 2 position. It's still Jean-micheal Bayle, the Frenchman who is on top of the national championship point standing. He's being chased by his teammate, Jeff Stanton, rider number 2, in the number 3 position. And look at this as the riders come back into view. Jean-micheal Bayle has taken over the number 1 position. Bayle is leading. It's Jeff Ward running back in the number 2 slot. Jeff Stanton in 3rd. Now, I don't know if Ward is having some kind of problem with his motorcycle or whether maybe he tweaked a knee or an ankle and he's having some kind of a physical problem, but Ward definitely has dropped off the pace. He is not going as fast as he did in the opening laps. Jean-micheal Bayle has taken over the number 1 position. Here comes Stanton to the inside, and Stanton puts the move on Ward, and Stanton takes over 2nd. Stanton trying to get a run on the inside, and Jeff Stanton takes over the number 1 spot. Can he hold it? Bayle kind of squared that corner off and got back inside Stanton to regain the lead, but Jeff Stanton put the drive on and took over for just a few feet there, that number 1 position. Jean-micheal Bayle holds down the lead. In fact, he's lengthened it here in the closing stages, the last lap, I should add, of Moto number 1. Jeff Stanton will hold on to take the number 2 spot. It's going to be Jeff Ward finishing 3rd. Damon Bradshaw will be 4th, rounding out the top 5 is going to be, unless they crash in the next few corners, Ron Lachine. Welcome back. Still one moto to go at Washougal, Washington. National Championship Motocross. I'm Larry Myers. That's the 500cc class. They're on the line as we look at some of the huge crowd here today enjoying themselves in the bright sunshine and beautiful weather at this beautiful facility. That's the tail end of the 125 class. As soon as those riders are off the track, the gate will drop in this 500, and we're set to go. And it looks like, and it is for the 2nd time today, Jeff Ward from Mission Viejo, California, aboard a Kawasaki, shoots to the front. Now, Ward had the lead in Moto number 1. We told you that we thought that either Ward was having a problem or a problem with the motorcycle, one of the two, and we found out between motos that Ward indeed did have a bike problem as he is chased here by Jeff Stanton in the number 2 position. Jeff Ward is out front, running in the number 2 position is Jeff Stanton. I'm not sure who that was in 3rd, but I can tell you in 4th it was Jean-micheal Bayle. So there's that 3rd place rider was Damon Bradshaw, rider number 11. So Bradshaw aboard the Yamaha is up close and set to do damage on the rest of this field. At the outset of the season, there was discussion with regard to whether or not the Yamaha was capable of staying with the latest technology because, quite frankly, Yamaha has not done a lot of developmental work on that 500 engine since Brock Glover wrote it several years ago. So they got it out of mothballs. It's an air-cooled, where the rest of these are water-cooled. Got it out of mothballs and said, let's give it a shot. Instead of putting Bradshaw Dubach back into the 125 class, we'll go 500cc racing. And the bike has certainly proven to be competitive with the rest of the motorcycles in this class. Bradshaw currently running in the number 3 position. There was a quick look at Ward running out the left side of your screen, then Stanton, and now Jean-micheal Bayle trying to work his way around Damon Bradshaw. Bayle, the series points leader, also the winner of Moto number 1, and has not been able to get the job done as far as passing Bradshaw at this stage of the game. It's still early going in Moto number 2 of this 500cc class. Bradshaw working the Yamaha. Bayle trying to get an inside line and outside line as the riders go up over the top of that jump and disappear from our view. He really doesn't care what kind of line he gets. He just wants to make a pass. Ward still out front. Jeff Stanton in 2nd, and Bayle out of our sight. Got the job done. Bayle holds now the number 3 position, dropping Damon Bradshaw back to 4th. Right now, though, Ward is riding flawlessly on this Washougal track. Jeff Ward holding down the lead. I already told you that Ward is the only 4-time winner here at Washougal, but how about riders that have won here 3 times? Well, there are only 2 of them, Brock Glover and Rick Johnson. Now, are you ready for this? Rick Johnson, for the first time, won in 1983 in the 250 class. Would you believe this? He was riding a Yamaha. He did it again in 1984 on that same motorcycle, and of course, right after that, switching to Team Honda, where he won so many championships for the Big Red machine. This one is winding down the 2nd race in the 500cc class. Jeff Ward has dominated since the opening lap, and one has to wonder. I pointed this out to you at the outset of this moto. It deserves saying again, had Ward not had the shock absorber problem in the first moto, would he not have dominated there too? Jeff Ward about to take the checkered flag, and he wins the 2nd moto here at Washougal, and he'll win overall honors for the day in this 500cc class.
In the decade that followed, Ricky Carmichael won Washougal 4 times. But the off-slippery track lended itself well to the talents of Kevin Wendell, who actually wrestled away the wins from Carmichael in 2001 and again in 2003. Despite being the ostensible home track of his primary rival, Ryan Villopoto, Ryan Dungey is the winningest rider in Washougal history, capturing 5 victories at the track to break a tie with Carmichael. He failed to win at the track just once in 6 attempts, with Villopoto taking his one and only hometown win in 2013, his 5th attempt.
Wants to win this race in front of the home folks desperately, Jeff. So what do you expect between these guys?
Well, I mean, how ironic is it that as great as Ryan Villopoto has been in his career, that his hometown race here at Washougal, that he's never won the overall. He's won motos, but he hasn't completed the whole thing and taken the overall. Today he started out right. He's the fastest qualifier. Check. Now he's got 2 more motos to try to accomplish that. The problem is his nearest competitor, Ryan Dungey, he's won the last 5 in a row. 5 in a row Dungey has won here, so momentum is on his side also, and Dungey desperately needs a win to get himself closer in the championship chase.
Dungey beats everyone into the first turn and gets to the motorcyclesuperstore.com stripe first.
Dungey on the factory Red Bull team. KTMs are dialed in here off the start at Washougal.
Absolutely, and Villopoto about 5th right now. It's Barsha into the number 2 spot.
Know how explosive number 2 here on the green Kawasaki Villopoto can be in the beginning part of the race. He's got his work cut out for him. Also because you can be too aggressive on this track. Villopoto riding with so much confidence. He has been exceptional this year. 11 moto wins, 4 overalls.
Look at that bad over the bike, but where did Villopoto even come from?
And the left side, rider's left side, has been better. Stewart takes the line back. They have added some rollers and a small jump midway up Horsepower Hill to try to slow these 450s down. And the left side is nice and smooth.
It's this tight S-turn section where Nicoletti got run into on the first lap. See, there's just no room for Villopoto to make passes, but he's still trying to find some lines. Villopoto has to reset himself and go to work. But the good news for him, the gap is not that big. Dungey is your leader here on the 1, but you see Barsha and Stewart and even Villopoto not too far behind. It is abnormal this year for it to be halfway mark in the race and Villopoto not a man on a charge for the lead. Dungey rides so well here. Why do you think that is?
And his style that he has, his technique, he's really smooth with the throttle, right? He has like basic textbook perfect technique. So
and out of nowhere, Ryan Villopoto has struck. And I'm talking 3 or 4 corners. He made up a ton of ground on James Stewart and has put the Monster Energy Kawasaki in front of the Yoshimura Suzuki. This is a battle for second, Jeff.
And these fans from the Great Northwest, they responded when Villopoto dropped down that Built Ford Tough drop-off, and he had taken the position from Stewart on the backside of the track. That is what they want to see out of their points leader.
These fans at Washougal watched Ryan Villopoto in those days growing up to be a future superstar, but it is odd how it has worked here in Washington. It has been the domain of Minnesota's Ryan Dungey. You can now see Villopoto. The 5-second gap is now a 4.1 second gap, but this is the last lap.
1 lap to go up Horsepower Hill. Dungey has executed this race to perfection. So far, he's had the luxury of being out front, but Villopoto has been the aggressors.
Final turn here into the whoops. Fans starting to pick it up. They're excited. He's got a rider in front of him. Villopoto's going to give it a run. He runs out of time. Ryan Dungey wins Moto number 1 here at Washougal, and his spectacular performances at this track, another one in the books. Dungey just rides darn well here. Give credit to Villopoto for closing it in. Comes in here as your points leader in the 450 class, yet he has never won at his home track. Could today be the day that number 2 is finally number 1 in front of the locals? Hello, everyone, and welcome to Washougal. Jason Wygant joined by...
It's going to be close.
Oh, Villopoto and Dungey battling for it, but it's going to be Josh Grant on the 33. And then he comes off the machine. And somehow Dungey got by him and takes the lead from Villopoto. I don't know how Dungey threaded the needle, but he did it. And he leads Villopoto and Grant up and down Horsepower Hill.
Well, here we go. Two of the best riders, arguably the best riders in the world, 1 and 2.
What a battle between Dungey and Villopoto. It has been this close for the first 7 minutes of this one, and it seems like every time Villopoto figures out a few new lines and is able to put a little pressure on, Dungey is able to respond and cover them. It's really strange that of all the tracks on this circuit for Villopoto to struggle on, it's the home race.
Watch this, watch this.
Not
There's
struggling now. To the inside. Villopoto has the lead for the first time today.
Dungey has got to answer. He has to get tough. He has to get motivated and get aggressive here and try to make that move back on Villopoto.
Could today finally be the day? Villopoto has been racing here as a pro since 2006. Has never won the overall. He's got a shot at it right now. Well, we thought a battle was going to materialize when Villopoto got around Dungey. We thought that maybe Dungey was taken by surprise. Maybe he could reset things. Hasn't happened. Villopoto has marched away.
But the bottom line is Villopoto now with a 7.7 second lead over Dungey has mastered the track here today. It's close. Never won here, but right now he's riding with so much confidence, so fluid, just putting the bike wherever he wants to put it. Could he be on his way to his first overall at his home race?
This guy, Ryan Villopoto, is his Washougal jinx finally about to end. Anything that could go wrong has gone wrong from here at his home track.
Looks over at the crowd. You see him cheering on the hometown boy here. A few more turns to go, and then he's going to make that right-hander, head down the whoop section to the Lucas Oil finish line. Fans they're gonna let him know it when he comes down that final straight right here. This has been an awesome ride.
Unbelievable that it took this long, but that only makes it even sweeter. Ryan Villopoto, in front of the home state fans, has finally won here at Washougal. And the fans have finally gotten what they wanted. Ryan Villopoto from Washington has won here in Washington.
By this point, Ralph Huffman was slowly easing away from managing Washougal, with his son, Ryan, a formidable late 90s racer himself, beginning to take over operations. Today, Ryan and family continue to run the track. Ralph Huffman passed away on March 22nd, 2021, at the age of 83. In more recent and relevant Washougal history, both Eli Tomac and Chase Sexton have won in Washington 3 times. But it becomes more telling of late that Eli's first victory came some 9 years ago, and his last is 6 years gone. Tomac would win at the venue in 2016, 2018, and 2019.
Then, little mistake here from Tomac. Like you just heard him say, he didn't know if he could get all the way to the front, but wow, this charge was impressive.
He gets to Marvin Musquin. This is the battle for the number 2 position. Musquin fended off 2 or 3 big pass attempts from Eli, but finally the dam broke and Eli was able to bust through, take second, and then begin to stalk Roczen.
Yeah, and this right here, just a power move through the whoops. Just, wow, so much forward bite and drive. Got a gap. There you see Roczen. He kept him on until the end.
But Tomac sweeps Washougal 1-1. Then Tomac, an incredible run. He gets around Musquin, he gets around Anderson. A mistake from Webb, although Tomac looked like he was in position to make the pass. Then he gets Savatgy for the number 2 spot. And then the question, could he close in on Roczen from about 7 seconds down?
Yes, he could. Multiple times. In fact, here it is, coming to the corner. He sees the opportunity. Just, you can see right there, just catches that clutch lever. And that's what happens when you go in with such intensity in that corner. And then through the woods, he made the pass from his teammate earlier, almost a carbon copy, but this time the lines come together. Roczen off the track.
Yeah, you really rarely see that between these two contact. despite all the great battles. But here's Tomac on the run. First, he has to get around second place, Ken Roczen. This is an area where you rarely see passes, but he had it figured out today.
Yeah, he made it work there. We hadn't seen that too much. And then now it goes to the outside and then puts the bike in the way. Marvin tried to close the door, hold that lead. Unsuccessful. Tomac to the front.
15th, we had him unofficially on the first lap. First at the end. He was also today's fastest qualifier and won the first moto earlier this afternoon in similar fashion. Gotta say, that's the best ride for Tomac this year.
Chase won there in 2021 with a 1-3 score, his only podium of the season, and then won again in 2022 in a season-long battle with Tomac, and again in 2024.
Because Sexton was out of the hole quick and into the lead.
Well, you saw that front wheel barely touch the ground the whole way down the start straight, so that's what you call the perfect amount of traction to the ground. Gets that motorsport.com whole shot.
And Sexton was never challenged once he pulled away from Roczen early, taking a big moto win. And 2 race recap, Cooper Webb steals the whole shot. I thought Dylan Ferrandis had it, and Ferrandis quickly takes it back.
Yeah, he gets to the front there, gets inside of Cooper Webb, and then Tomac. Look at this lunge. Love that downhill hard braking section, makes it work several times. Yeah, just launches by, gets good run through that whip section before the finish, and then goes to the outside here, squares up Sexton, gets to the inside where it's nice and loamy, more traction, takes the line away, and a perfectly executed block pass.
He got right to the rear fender of Dylan Ferrandis. As the white flag came out, Ferrandis responded. He ran a 2:14 on the final lap, which is about as fast as anyone had gone all day to hold on for the Moto win. But Ferrandis was only 5th in Moto 1. The 5-1 edge by the 1-3 of Sexton. Sweeping the nation, the Chase and Eli show, and we had another classic. We'll give it to you from Washougal, the Lucas Oil race recap. First, Ryan Dungey wanted to run with him. He gets to motorsport.com whole shot. It was looking good.
Yeah, it was looking great until, really sad to see it happen, but had some bike issues lap 2.
That was it for Dungey. So that left Tomac versus Sexton. Here's Tomac making the move.
Just coming up the inside there. Man, Chase should have been watching that or knowing that Eli's there, going to come up the inside, and that's what happened.
And then Tomac tips over. Sexton has nowhere to go. Now watch. Tomac's going to fall down again. But Sexton is hitting the electric start button and the Honda won't fire. Then they both start almost identically, and the gap stays exactly where it was. And at one point, Sexton got it back down to 0.4 seconds. Look how close it is at the line. Recap of the second moto. It was really this. 23 of Sexton and the 3 of Tomac, throwing everything they had at each other the whole time.
Yeah, they both rode phenomenal. Chase was weathered the storms, multiple of them.
But here's the battle.
Yeah, back to what I was saying. These guys were on another level, and Chase rode phenomenal, was able to weather multiple storms from Eli and come off with the win.
Yep. Curious to see what happened the last 2-3 laps where he really started to march away. I mean, obviously, that's usually where Tomac does his best work. He's so strong, so fit. Whatever the case, this time, Sexton able to pull away from 6th to 1st. And he keeps the streak alive. 6 straight moto wins for Chase Sexton. Chase Sexton just keeps getting better every week.
Saturday cruise.
Makes it look easy down to the end. He wins Redbud. He wins Spring Creek. 3 in a row. Chase Sexton 1-1 at Washougal.
But that streak was, of course, interrupted by the perfect Jett Lawrence in 2023.
We thought today might be the day that Sexton could at least put the heat on, and there is a whole nother moto, so you never know. They let it lap. He leads the rest. Yep, on a track that was expected to be tough for him, it was not. Another moto win, and the perfect season continues for Jett Lawrence.
Early in the season, the Lawrences admitted that they had some work to do with their bikes. Now, they're apparently set, and have finished 1-2 overall in the last 4 races straight. Spring Creek might have been Hunter's toughest challenge yet against his brother, holding him at bay in the first moto in a manner in which he could not just a week ago at Redbud. Hunter ended up 1-2, yet another runner-up finish for a rider who has somehow never finished out of the top 5 overall in a pro motocross race in his career, yet also still doesn't have an overall win. Maybe Hunter could win more if Jett weren't there. But would Hunter be as good if he didn't have Jett to ride and test with. And would Jett be as good without Hunter? Thus the real win is for both, as they add a gap on the rest of a very deep 450 pack. Building and improving together has led to better days for both, and leaves them with nothing left but to battle each other.
Hunter rode really well, but we needed to keep the win streak going on overalls, sadly, so super happy, but he made me dig for that one. He kept pushing, he was riding really good. No, it's good to see HJ there and keeping me honest. It's a good challenge, makes me push and makes me better, so it's good to see him up there. I'm glad he was right there.
If you're going to self-analyze this week like I know you will, what's the one thing you need to work on before we get to Washougal?
Just be faster, right? If I was faster, I would have passed him. So it's simple as that. But kid's good.